Welcome to the BitGeek podcast. I am your host, Ron Avis, and with me is my co-host,
Nick Wright.
And today we're talking about E3 2017. So, E3 just happened, Nick, and everyone's super excited. It's the time, it's like hype time. You know, it's the perfect time for, you know, it's like a movie trailer, you know, like when you go to the movies and you see those trailers at the beginning and you just get real excited because they show you all the, like, you know, sizzle stuff, you know, the sizzle reel things.
All the new games coming out.
All the new games coming out. So we had our pre-E3, or my pre-E3 predictions. I did 5 of them. And I thought today we'd have a little fun and we'd revisit my 5, see how close I was. And then I would go through and do a little bit of a recap for me for the big 3 conferences, the Microsoft, the Sony, and Nintendo. And I'll kind of give my opinions on who I thought won, who I thought disappointed.
Why is it always like, who won E3?
I know. It's like, who won E3? Like, you're right. It's why should we care? Because really, the winner is us.
I mean, you know, there's games on each system I'm interested in. I don't care who won so much. Just give me the games I like.
Right. Yeah, the real winners are us always. Because although, you know, when you were younger, and I suspect to a degree it's still true this day, like you could only get one system, and that creates that culture of fanboy. Yeah. So... you know, we can afford to buy all the systems, so we really don't care who wins and, you know, who had the best conference. There's no bragging rights. We don't care because we can play anything we want. So I don't know, but people are people. We still want to talk. You know, we're still gonna praise. We're gonna bring up the things we like. We're gonna bitch about the things we don't like, and this is no different for games. So. Yeah, so I started out the predictions with number 1 was the PlayStation VR was going to see.
Right, and we saw VR games.
Right, I was thankfully right about that. With Sony, you never know because they have a tendency to, in gaming in general, you release a peripheral but you don't support it fully. You come out of the gate strong. You release a couple of, you know, a handful of key titles to sell the peripheral.
Maybe if it didn't really catch on, then they just drop it.
Yeah, they just ignore it and go away, or they just start focusing on the next big peripheral, the next big thing to sell you. But Sony stayed true to their word. They see VR as a thing that's going to happen for a while, and none of the big 3 with Oculus, PSVR, or which is 5. HTC, they're all still going strong.
Which I remember, that is the one that I played. Because
I couldn't
really remember before.
Yeah, it had been a little while, I guess. So yeah, PlayStation got a good chunk of their press conference from the Sony press conference was devoted to PlayStation VR, and so the games are alive and well. There's Bethesda especially. They're bringing out their Doom game. They're gonna have a VR port of the Doom game, which I'm really excited about. Yeah. I thought that looked really cool. They're doing a port of Skyrim, which, you know, every system's got to have its Skyrim, I guess.
I've never really got into them. So.
I know. Like, I get excited about these announcements, and then it comes. And the game is an old game. I think it's about 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of comical that people are still, like, releasing the Skyrim games and making a big deal out of it. But it's in VR, so that's a big thing. And you know, it's also coming out later this year for the Switch, which is a big deal because it's the first time you can play Skyrim portably. So, you know, as long as they keep coming up with first-time scenarios, they're going to keep milking that cow. And during E3 at the time, they had shown that they were doing a Fallout 4 VR port, but they didn't mention PSVR. But later on, it's leaked that it appears that it, in fact, is coming out for PSVR as well. So if nothing else, Bethesda is fully behind PSVR. Then you had that really neat game that was called Moss.
With was that the one with the mouse?
Yeah, it was the one with the little mouse. Yeah. Looked pretty cute. To me, that looks like a game where you're, you know, kind of elevated above. It's a puzzle kind of game. Like the mouse is integral to the puzzle, you know, solving.
Looks cute.
You got to get the mouse to different places. So that looked really cool. I'm looking forward to that. And there's a handful of other titles, but the fact is, PlayStation they spend a good portion of their time promoting PSVR, so it's alive and well, at least in year 2. So I'm going to give myself, a check on that one.
A pat on the back.
Give myself a pat on the back. The second prediction I made was what I thought to be a no-brainer was the Switch edition
Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I still think it's coming.
I still think it's coming. I guess Nintendo's going to do like a direct or something later in the year.
Yeah, they're just saving it for later, I think.
Yeah, Nintendo is really crushing it this year as far as, I want to talk about Nintendo at length a bit more. So I don't want to, talk too much later. But I really am impressed with Nintendo and how they're setting up this first year the way they are. Because it started out a little bit disappointing, and then each month's gotten better and better and better, and there's still more surprises. So, but yeah, there was no Smash Brothers Deluxe. It didn't happen, so I got to give myself a big fat X on that one.
Yeah, it seemed like the easy one.
Yeah, that seemed like a no-brainer. And as long as we're on the Switch, I thought that we'd see the Virtual Console word.
Yeah, I'm not really too surprised. They hadn't really said much more about that yet.
Well, they leaked a little. Well, they didn't leak because they directly talked about it, but they did mention just before E3 that they kind of came out with pricing a little bit officially.
Yeah, and I mean, because they did kind of already say the pricing, and it's not like a super exciting thing like to show trailers for. Like, here, you can play Super Mario Brothers again for the...
No, it's not, but the Nintendo fans would really explode. Like, they would love it. I mean, it's definitely something that they would be excited for, and myself included. But then it comes out, and it's like like an afterthought almost.
But we all know it's coming,
So I got to give myself another X for that. To me, it kind of seemed like a no-brainer, but again, it'll probably something... Nintendo on a Tuesday will just come out with a Nintendo Direct or some kind of announcement on Twitter being like, hey, Virtual Console's coming November 28th or whatever. So, not too big of a... I'm 1 for 3, basically, at this point. Fourth prediction was that we'd see something for Crackdown 3 because they released it. They talked about it in E3 a couple of years ago, and they were making a big deal out of destructible environments, and it was going to be a big Xbox One exclusive. Last year, they didn't say a word. So, like, what's going on with this game? It's got to be coming, right? Are they going to be saving it for their next Xbox, whatever it's going to be? But they did actually show a trailer with... I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty funny. There's like Terry Crews at the beginning of it, and he's doing some funny Terry Crews shit, kind of getting you hyped. And then they show a long trailer. I love the look of it. It definitely looks like the first Crackdown, which has me excited. If they're smart, they'll go right back to what worked from the first Crackdown game. So Crackdown 3 was there. We even got a release date. I don't know the date right in front of me, but it was in November, the same day as when they released their Xbox One X, which they finally named.
Yeah.
It's not Scorpio or Scorpion anymore, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, there is an Xbox One X.
Xbox One Pro.
Xbox One Pro, exactly. If you're going along with the iterations, and Sony's done their Pro. Obviously, we knew they weren't going to do Pro. They didn't. They went with X. Which is kind of confusing. Because they've got Xbox One S.
Yeah, it is. But I've seen now people say that now it's like, when you abbreviate it, it spells out Xbox. Because everybody would do like Xbone for Xbox One.
Okay.
And so now you add the X, so it's Xbone X.
Oh, okay. Whatever. That's all good. But yeah, we got the Crackdown 3. I think it looks great, and I'm really excited. I don't think I'll be getting an Xbox One X to play it, though. And then, so I'm 2 for 4. I'm batting 500. And would I be able to get, above 500 with my 5th pick? Yes, as a matter of fact, it would turn out I would. I said that we're going to get a Metroid, some kind of announcement, and they did, in fact.
They finally announced it.
They not only was there a Metroid announcement, there were 2 Metroid announcements with the teaser logo that we.
But and it was exactly like I said, that if they do announce Prime. It's just going to be a logo and nothing more.
And that's exactly what
it was.
So Nick was 1 for 1. But yeah, so the Metroid Prime 4 was a big reveal. People were really excited about that, of course. And then we got the 3DS 2D Metroid game that a lot of people were really wanting.
Remake of the second game that was on the original Game Boy way back in the day.
Samus Returns, and I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right, so I was 3 for 5.
A lot of new moves. I mean, a lot of new stuff in there.
Yeah, we saw that there was a new melee attack, it looks like.
Yeah, the grapple beam.
The grapple beam, which, as you pointed out, I think wasn't in the original Game Boy.
Yeah,
Metroid.
that was introduced in 3 on the Super Nintendo.
But I really don't think at this point they're going to subtract from what they built on already just to make it an authentic.
2 had a lot of different abilities for the ball. Like there was the spider ball, and I forget all the names now, but you would get a lot of different abilities when you.
That spider ball was cool, but the spider ball was kind of frustrating because the way it controlled. If I remember, it didn't really control the way you wanted it to.
You like activated it so that it's like now you're like in cling mode or something, and you just go around the walls and you can hit a button and it would release and you could drop.
Yeah, totally useful for the game itself. So 3 for 5, not too bad. I'll give myself B minus.
Okay.
If I were going to grade myself,
B minus. Passing grade.
A passing grade. Not too bad. So I want to talk also about the press conference individually. E3's amazing. It's spread out over several days. Usually the press comes in, they get their turn. They have these gigantic auditoriums. They spend a bunch of money to show trailer after trailer, and they talk about what's coming in these press conferences. It's a big, people live stream it, and they have watching parties, and it's a whole big deal. And I'm no different. Like I was glued.
Yeah.
I was glued, on every single press conference.
Yeah,
you on the other hand,
I didn't see a lick of it. I'm just sitting there at work.
Yeah.
And as
I'm texting you like, oh my God, Nick, you won't believe it. They did this or they showed that.
Yeah, as news comes, I see texts come in and I look at my phone. And, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so
I didn't see a lick of it.
I was kind of like your source of E3 there. It sounds like. Xbox One or Xbox, pardon me, was first. They came out with their. They got to go first, and they're kind of behind the 8 ball right now. Sony's way out ahead, and Switch is kind of the new king right now. Microsoft they're not doing bad. They're doing quite well. We have Xboxes, and I like my Xbox.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say they're doing bad, but they are third place right now, I would say. They really probably could have used a really good press conference, and I don't think it was a bad press conference, but it was underwhelming, I think.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think that because the biggest news for them was their Xbox Pro, which is so expensive. I mean, yeah, it
$499.
The most powerful gaming system yet, and that's great and all, and yeah, sure, I'd like one, but do I think I can afford one? No.
I mean, yeah, I could afford one, but I mean, I'm gonna have to make concessions elsewhere, and I'm not ready to do that.
Does it seem worth it?
Especially since they're saying all these games are going to be playable just fine on the other Xboxes.
Yeah.
And I can.
I mean, I don't even have a 4K TV anyway, so.
Well, they're supposed to play even better on a 1080p with super. Like, I'm not a technical guy, but like I think they use like super sampling or something to raise the resolution a bit.
Yeah.
So it's up to 4K and then reduced, but it's supposedly better. Even though
I'll tell you what, though, if it's more powerful, if it does like faster loading times, like on say Tekken 7, then I'm all for that because
but that's just the game itself.
That game will pause in the middle of cutscenes. It's playing like a full motion video, like cutscene, and it'll pause, and then it'll start going again. It's awful.
It sounds like it was poorly optimized. But yeah, these more powerful machines are going to load games faster, but I don't know how much faster in the case of that game. Maybe it won't pause. Maybe you need all 7 of those teraflops to get.
I'm trying to play through the story mode of it, and it'll just keep like jerking around because it'll pause.
Can you skip the skip scenes?
I mean, I think you can, but since it's the first time I'm watching it, I'm watching the story mode. I've got to see it once.
That's true. That's true.
So
You don't want to skip the first
I
time.
haven't attempted to, so I don't know, honestly.
Hope you can. That's going to be a really shitty play experience.
Well, and then I probably won't play story mode again, so I wouldn't need to.
Good point. Seen it once. It's not something. It's not like a movie.
You
or
would
like
just play versus mode or online or whatever.
Yeah, we don't have enough time as it is to give to our games, so like we're not going to spend a lot of extra time on, for some part of the game that's sort of inconsequential in most cases, especially for a fighting game.
Yeah, I mean, any fighting game story mode, you play through that once and you're done.
Yeah, that's good. I'm good. But yeah, man, $4.99 for the new system. I'm not getting one. I'm gonna pass.
It's got to go down. I'm interested, but there's not right now. It's got to go down.
Well, they just released the S, which I did get. I went ahead and I sold my old Xbox One.
Yeah, and I've still got the giant original one.
And it's great. Like it plays. It did improve the graphics. It's got a 4K Blu-ray player in it.
Yeah.
It's just fine, and it just recently came out.
And
One
it's
cool thing
way
about these,
cheaper.
it's way cheaper. I like the Xbox Pro X because it's smaller. It looks good. It looks cool, but it all depended on what games are they going to show me that I can only play on Xbox One X that are going to look so good that I'm going to get this.
Minecraft. Surprisingly
Minecraft 4K.
Good.
That looked cool, man. I really enjoyed it. But I'm not gonna buy an Xbox Pro X. Well, the answer is there was really not a much compelling reason to get one.
Yeah. It's funny that I don't know how much they kept since you're the one that watched the.
Oh, they touted in 4K.
Well, but I mean that it's actually smaller than the S, because I think I have heard but it's not appreciably smaller. It's like maybe slightly smaller.
Yeah,
it's not like a dramatic.
No, it's not like an NES Classic small or anything. That would be something. But it is smaller. They're gonna make any kind of big deal that they can out of it, I guess, because they want to sell. And
it's
for
not
some
like
people, I guess that's a big deal.
Remember the original PlayStation, and then the PS1 came out, and it was so small.
Oh yeah,
it's not like that.
Yeah, but the parts get cheaper and smaller, and they make them smaller and cheaper. So that's good for us, I guess. But Microsoft came out. They showed a bunch of games. Like they showed 40 games. It was very indie heavy.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of really interesting indie titles. So they're kind of taking the PlayStation route of 2014, where PlayStation came out. It's like we're all about the gamers, and we're gonna feature indies, and they did, and it was kind of a big deal for them. And then the big AAA titles started rolling out, and they made less of a big deal. But Microsoft's just trying to find any angle they can to win some gamers back, or to try and take some gamers from PlayStation. If indies are that thing, I don't think they are.
Yeah.
Cuphead looks really cool.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Looks good.
Yeah, that is finally coming out in the fall, I believe. So we got a release date for that, and that's an exclusive to Xbox. Again, don't need an Xbox Pro to play it, or Pro. I want to call it Xbox Pro now. Thanks. And the Xbox X, Xbox One X. It has too much in those names. But that looks really cool, but I've seen it before, so it wasn't like a huge, big, awesome, oh, wow moment when you saw it. There was this title called The Last Night, which looked really cool. And then there were a bunch of those look okay titles. Then they showed Assassin's Creed, the new one, where you're in Egypt now.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks great, but it's going to look great on other systems too, so there's no need to get an Xbox just for that.
Yeah.
And then they closed the press conference with what's going to be a big game, I'm sure. The BioWare, the makers of the Mass Effect games, is that Anthem, which admittedly looks really cool. And it said coming in 2018, but I don't buy that for a second. Yeah. There's no way that game's coming out in 2018. To me, I'm watching that trailer, and it looked like a game that was very heavily produced on a high-end PC. You're seeing the best that it's ever going to look, and it's probably never going to look that good because, like I say, maybe it'll look that good on Windows 10 because Xbox games always come out on Windows 2. But on the Xbox One X, probably not. But I think some people are calling it a Destiny killer. I was watching the trailer again just now, and I thought it looks more like a Division because it's a third-person kind of team MMO shoot and loot kind of game. I'm really excited to play it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I think it looks great, but I just don't get as fired up about those games as much anymore. I don't know. It looks good.
It's a big investment.
Yeah.
Which, it takes a lot of time and investment. I still to this day play Destiny. I try to play it as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I used to every Tuesday I would get into Destiny and do all the raids, do all the strikes and
I'm just finding it
nightfalls.
hard to find the time to do the regular playing like that.
Yeah, me too. And Destiny's Destiny 2 is about ready to come out, so I don't have a lot of reason to play it as much as I used to. But I don't know. I'm definitely going to give it a try. It looks really cool.
Looks good, though.
Again, though, not a real reason to get the new system. And Crackdown 3 looked really cool, and I'm sure all these games are going to look great on an Xbox One X. But so they ended with Anthem. It was really a whiz bang, ooh ah kind of gameplay trailer that they showed. And I thought the press conference, I know you didn't watch it, but it was really slick. Phil Spencer came out. He's like a really cool guy. Like, he's kind of the main guy for Xbox and Microsoft when their gaming division. And he's a really likable guy to get behind, and he says all the right things. And again, it's not like Xbox is losing. They're doing really well, just not PlayStation, Nintendo well right now.
Yeah.
So, it was the first press conference, so they had that going for them. But it was good, but it wasn't great. The next press conference was Sony. Like Sony's been killing it for years now, it seems, since all through the PlayStation 4 era. And they always have a few tricks up their sleeve. Last year they showed The Last of Us 2 and a couple other little things to get people excited. This year I was actually happy because the games that they showed were mostly games that are going to be coming out either this year or next year, which is something that frustrates me about E3 sometimes. You'll see these games and it'll be
wait so long.
Oh yeah, like 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So it's kind of frustrating. Like, yeah, it's exciting, but then you're like, I don't know when I'm actually ever going to play this game.
It's always real fun when like something was kept a secret and they'll announce something and then they'll be like, and it's on sale right after the conference.
Oh god, yeah. And then they would make a killing, man, because like everybody's so pumped up they want
they want to rush, like, get on their phones and order it and rush out there.
Like get off their computer and go start playing games. So Sony came out and they did, they showed all of their big games that we kind of already knew about. Days Gone, which is a pretty cool looking game. It kind of reminds me of The Last of Us. That looks excellent. It's kind of like zombies. So it's that old thing where it's you against the zombies, but also people, like The Walking Dead kind of, essentially.
They're fun.
Yeah, zombies we're never going to get tired of killing zombies, apparently. They showed the new God of War, which in the past I've appreciated the God of War games. I appreciate them for their technical and visual polish, but there's not a lot of meat on that bone in the end. Like, it's just like a button masher.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I've only ever tried to play the very first one, and I didn't even really get very far, and I was just like,
Me neither. It was just like the flavor of the week kind of deal, and you play it a bit, and you're like, this is really looks good, but I'm just
people love it though.
Yeah, it's definitely one of Sony's big flagship franchises. So we saw that, and it looks really interesting. It kind of reminds me of the way the Tomb Raider games look now.
Yeah.
Which, they for a long time Tomb Raider was, middling around, in this kind of like awful world where they would just pump the games out. None of them were quality, and then all of a sudden they started making really quality games. Mm-hmm. So like last 2 or 3 games have been really good. So it feels like they're going like more for a Tomb Raider type feel, which if they are, that's great. I don't know if I'm going to play this game just like any of the other God of War games, but I was impressed with it.
Yeah. I never have gotten into the other ones, so there's other games to play. I mean, if I'm not exactly in a drought of games, so
no, not at all. It's a great time to be a gamer nowadays. So there was that. There was the Spider-Man game, which I thought looked fantastic.
That looks great.
I want to play that right now.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a lot of the Arkham games for Batman. As far as the combat goes.
Combat. Mm-hmm.
They'd show the scene where he was up in the high rise and he's kind of like watching the villains.
Yeah,
and
it first kind of takes them out like stealthily.
Yeah, he takes them out. So it shows you in the trailer, like, you can take people out stealthily, or you could just go in like with fists and just take them all out that way. He had the neat little gadget where he kind of threw the web down and it stuck, and it like
hold him up against the wall.
Yeah, just kind of reached out, pulled the bad guy up against the wall, and webbed him up. So it looks like Insomniac's got a good handle on what the game's going to be like. For me, those Spider-Man games, some of them were really fun, but they were always like a lower tier games, in a way that a lot of movie or licensed products weren't always fully like the greatest games.
There's a lot of kind of a GTA feel to them. Like, you could go on your little side quests.
Yeah.
Save the, grab a balloon for somebody lost their balloon or whatever.
Yeah, like, really? Do I want to do this balloon side mission? But I mean, it keeps people playing, I guess. I've never played The Witcher, but I've heard it's virtually unbeatable because like the side quests are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people that have like obsessive compulsive disorder,
gotta complete everything.
Oh, I gotta do everything, so you never actually even get to the the end game.
That's kind of how I'm doing in Breath of the Wild.
I was about to say,
must
keep just squeezing every
find
bit of
all
game.
shrines, find all side quests.
How many shrines you up to now?
I don't remember the number, but I'm pretty
over 300 seeds though. I remember you telling me that.
I don't remember.
Oh god. How many hearts are there? You're almost all the way up in hearts.
I've got all the hearts.
Got all the hearts.
Yeah.
So you're definitely ready to take on Ganon.
Yeah, I feel like I've only got maybe like about 4 shrines left. That because I know I don't. There's at least like one more stamina wheel I think I can fill up before it's done.
Well, if you can get as much gameplay as he got out of Breath of the Wild with this Spider-Man game, you'd be doing really well. But
oh man, I'm like 200 something hours in.
Oh my god, well worth the money. So yeah, Spider-Man, it was really impressive in the press conference. They didn't really talk too much about the new Destiny game because they had their own event. Let's see, what else was there? Was I missing anything? Oh, they showed this other game called Detroit Becoming Human, which looks kind of cool. Awesome graphics, interesting story.
I know what you're missing. Are you waiting for the remake of?
Oh, thanks for reminding me. Well, the only thing about the Sony press conference that really kind of surprised me, which is one of the aspects of E3 that you get most excited for, is what things have the developers kept up their sleeve, what things haven't been leaked, because nowadays it's a leak culture. Everything gets leaked. Which
is unfortunate.
Yeah, but I love them when they happen. When I see these leaks, I get excited.
Yeah.
But then when the actual thing comes, you got less surprises. Yeah, man, they dropped a bombshell with Shadow of the Colossus.
That looks great.
Oh, man, that looks great.
Such a good game anyway, but totally remade. Looks great.
Yeah, they're redoing it from the ground up. They're not just slapping a new coat of paint on this thing. They're making a fully new game. And I couldn't be more excited to play it because the first one came out during a time when I just didn't have any time to play games. Played it a bit, never even got to the first Colossus. I just kind of roamed around on my horse and was that's basically what I did.
I got far, but I never beat it, so maybe now I'll beat it.
I'm for sure gonna give myself some time to beat Shadow of the Colossus because it looks so cool. I've watched some gameplay of other people like on YouTube and stuff, so I kind of know what I get the gist of what the Colossus are like when you get on and take them down.
It's great.
It's really cool, and I'm excited, and it's going to be coming out next year, so that's kind of a game that they kept a secret, and now they're going to release it in 2018. So Sony's press conference was really, really good. Again, they didn't have that big announcement other than Shadow of the Colossus. That was it. Yeah. But it was enough because the games they did show looked excellent, and then Shadow of the Colossus was just icing on the cake. But then Nintendo came out last, and everyone was thinking, well, what's Nintendo going to do? Because they traditionally don't make a big deal out of their press conferences like Sony and Microsoft do. They tend to do the videos, so there's not that big audience, reaction. They just show their little video and everybody watches. And they also said that they weren't going to show anything beyond 2017. They said that right before the E3. So they're thinking, well, they're going to talk a lot about Splatoon probably.
Yeah.
And they'll probably
Mario.
talk about Mario Odyssey, obviously. We'll get a lot of that, which is great. But, right off the bat, your expectations are tempered because you don't really expect any big announcements. But boy, they brought the announcements.
Because it's, you already know Mario Odyssey's coming, so you're expecting, you see a little bit of that.
We're getting a new Pokemon game, which is really cool because I've never really gotten into the Pokemon titles on the handhelds, but I know they're immensely popular, so it's a huge win for Nintendo Switch.
And I haven't played all of them, but I played the first one and kind of skipped a bunch in the middle, and then I played like the X and Y and Ruby and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fun.
Yeah, and Logan's got Sun and Moon, and he's just learning to read, and a lot of that game is text and reading, so he hasn't played it a whole lot. He likes walking around and catching the Pokemon, but there's a ton of story involved too, so I think he got frustrated with that because he's just on a kindergarten reading level right now.
Not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet, but he's reading more and more. So when that day happens, he loves his Pokemon. He's going to be all over those games, and maybe by the time this Switch game comes out. But yeah, they just had a guy. He's kind of casually sitting at his desk, and he's like, "Oh, hello," he does one of those things. Or you just caught me drawing Pikachu or something. And he just comes right out and just a game is in development. So you're getting an actual Pokemon game, and not like Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Stadium, like an honest to goodness Pokemon game.
And it really fits for the Switch. Since you're able, this is the first time for a Nintendo console, you can just pick the thing up and just walk outside.
That's right. It's a hybrid.
Because that's really, I think, why that they've always had the main Pokemon games on a handheld up to this point is because they've always wanted that social interaction, I think, and you don't get that sitting on your couch playing a console.
It's true.
So
yeah, with the
it's
Switch being
fit.
a hybrid, it's it is technically a console, but it's also a portable, and people are just couldn't be more tickled. So that I recognize that as a big deal. For me personally, it's not like anything that I'm going to get too excited about, but I do recognize what a big deal it is. So right off the bat, they're doing well. They surprised us with the new Yoshi game. And it's right, and it said coming 2018. So right then,
how can Yoshi get even cuter than he was with the Woolly World?
Oh man, he can't. There's no way. God damn, that Yoshi's cute, man. And he's got that woolly kind of world look to him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I never really played that Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U. It looked
it's
beautiful.
It's a good game.
Oh, is it a good game?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. I played demos of it in department stores and things, and I've recognized it's a good game, but Nintendo games never go down in price, so I'm not gonna.
This one's really cool. How it's the background is made out of cardboard and.
Yeah, and this one has that look.
Yeah.
You're constantly kind of going in the foreground and the background.
Go behind it.
Yeah. So that's coming out in 2018. So you saw that 2018, and you're like, "Oh, Nintendo!
No.
You fibbed a little bit. you're teasing games." So then right away, people are like, "Oh shit, we might get some good stuff." But Pokemon was great, and even so I got that reversed. I think the Yoshis I think it's just called Yoshi.
I don't remember. Maybe there wasn't a name.
I think it's just called
a
Yoshi.
title yet. Yeah, I don't remember.
But that came out first, and then the Pokemon announcement came. So, but when the Yoshi game announcement came, you're just like, oh hell, they're gonna start teasing some stuff. So after that, we got a new Kirby game. They went from Yoshi to Kirby or Kirby to Yoshi. I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact order it was in the press conference, but
I don't
doesn't matter. That Kirby game looks really cute too. That is a traditional side-scrolling Kirby game. It's not like him racing.
Yeah.
Or some kind of party game. It's an actual Kirby game. You got that tree in the trailer, that familiar tree.
It's not a Kirby game without the tree.
Yeah, you got to get that tree going. So that Kirby game looks really cute. And that's also coming out 2018. Then I lost my shit when I saw that Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and I was like, finally thank God, they're doing a Metroid game on a next-gen system. Hallelujah. They've been teasing it for years, it seems like. So much so that it was just tradition. I picked Metroid coming out that, as a prediction because it's tradition to do so. But odds are it's going to happen.
But then 30 seconds later, it was done because it was just the logo, as we already mentioned.
It was a teaser, but they did announce that it's going to be coming in 2018. Yeah. So I was a bit worried that it was years off, but they're just saving it for us. They don't want to ruin it. So thank you, Nintendo. I don't want it ruined and spoiled. Let's see. What else am I forgetting? They confirmed that Xenoblade 2 or Xenoblade Chronicles. Oh, it's another franchise that I myself personally don't get excited for, but recognize it's like a big deal to a lot of people. So they once again confirmed that was coming out in 2017. So that was kind of a big deal. Let's see. That might have been it, because the press conference itself was only 30 minutes in length. Then they went directly into a Treehouse event where you don't really expect anything to happen, but lo and behold, they dropped yet another surprise on us. It was the Metroid Samus Returns game. We saw a trailer for that. So you're seeing all these Switch focused things, and then a few minutes later you're still buzzing about what you just saw, and then you get a 2D Metroid game.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited about that.
Oh gosh, and that's coming out really soon too. I want to say that's coming out. It's in September, maybe. Yes, September 15th. So we got that to look forward to really soon, right after the summer. So Nintendo, I think, had the best conference. Like, to me, Nintendo won E3. If we're gonna really talk about winning and losing, I think they won it.
Well, we didn't even talk about the Mario at all. That video was so cool.
Mario Odyssey
leads in with the dinosaur, the T-Rex.
Totally fooled me. You're thinking like, what is this?
Going on here?
A Jurassic World game or something? Yeah, thank you, Nick. I would kill myself if I went back and I'm like editing this video. I'm like, I didn't even mention Mario Odyssey, but that was something we knew we were getting. But what was great about it, it was just it was confirmation that it's going to be an excellent game.
Yeah.
I'm
had
hoping,
like that theme song and everything.
Oh, they were actually like spoken word.
Yeah, it's like a real song.
Yeah, it's like real jazzy and kind of like, like old. It reminded me like a really old fashioned kind of 50s style song.
And seeing more of Mario Odyssey also just reminded me about how odd and different this one's going to be with its mechanics of like throwing the hat at enemies and taking control of the enemies. Like, man, this is so different than any other Mario. But like Mario Galaxy, I felt the same way, and it's an excellent game.
Well, I love it too, because like you see the hat being thrown and you're like, well, okay, he's going to use it for attacking, and he's going to use it for certain platforming aspects so you could jump off of it. But then they like show that you can possess other enemies like the Bullet Bills.
Yeah.
And
the dinosaur.
The dinosaur, I guess. You saw he was wearing the hat, so I guess he's possessed. You could possess one of the like weird human-like things in New Donk City. So yeah, they just like another layer of complexity to the hat mechanic. So they gave him a name now, Cappy.
Oh, I didn't realize they had a name.
Yeah, they really got original with that one. They went with Cappy. That's fine. It's cute. I'm sure, you'll see a lot of people wearing that hat, the eyes.
The eyeballs.
Yeah, so Mario Odyssey looks so cool. I think it's going to do for Mario what Zelda has done for Breath of the Wild. I don't necessarily think it's going to be as vast exploration-wise, but they've said that each level is really dense. Like it's not like if you see a mountain way over there, you can traverse and go to that mountain, and there it is. It's more vertical, I think. Like there's like there's like several hundred moons, I think, per each level to find. And also, if you like in Mario Super Mario 64, or if you collected a star, you got kicked out of the map.
Right.
Well, now if
and
you
then
do that,
just jump back in to find the next.
Yeah,
thing.
you're gonna go back in. Well, now they don't even do that. Like you find a star, like you can continue, so it doesn't kick you out of and back into the hub mode.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So I think it's gonna be one of those like major collectathons.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm gonna go for that moon, but while I see a moon over there, but along the way I'm gonna find a whole bunch more moons.
Yeah.
We only got to see a couple of the worlds. We saw like the Mexico-inspired world and New Donk City.
Oh yeah, and he's got all the different outfits that he can buy.
Oh, the outfits are great.
Yeah.
I love that you can take currency from the game that you collect, go into a store, and buy outfits.
Yeah, he's got like NES Open, like the box art.
Yeah, they had that. They had the Mario Maker outfit.
The that Mexican one was from some game, but I don't remember which at this point. I think it was on Game Boy or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that all of them are inspired from the Mario games in some way.
Yeah.
There was like one where he's wearing the football helmet, which is like the little enemies from Super Mario World, the charging football guys.
Charging Chuck?
Charging Chuck, yeah, I think that's inspired from that. But it's just going to be one of those games where there's just so much depth to it. I think it's going to be an instant classic, man. I'm so excited. And they actually gave a release date. It's coming out in October.
Yeah,
like a week or so after my birthday.
Cool.
So we got a date. We got something to look forward to. October, sooner than I thought. I was thinking like November, maybe in Christmas time.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, if you can find a Switch, good luck. You're gonna definitely.
Yeah, since I've got one, I haven't been looking, and I was actually thinking just the other day, are they still impossible to find?
I'm with you. Like I haven't been out looking for one because we both pre-ordered. We were smart. Because of course Nintendo, it sounds like Nintendo's not actually pulling shenanigans this time. Like I think they're genuinely having problems keeping up with demand. Yeah, I know. Like you give that smirk. They came out in the news and apologized for the lack of Switches.
I don't know. I don't know what to say because maybe they are. It's just.
It felt like lip service before, but I kind of believe them now. Like apparently,
it happens
Apple is taking up
though. Every time.
The batteries, I think, are like what's the big holdup. Like there was an article a month or so ago about how Nintendo was in a war with Apple for parts. Like they can't build what they want to build because they can't put together the components. Like they can't find them themselves. So and maybe that was just a lack of foresight on their part when they were coming off the Wii U. They didn't want to just make a whole bunch of them because what if it failed? They'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
They were kind of like playing it a little conservatively. Now they're just like they can't make them fast enough. Feels like every time I turn around, like Nintendo's up in their production in some way or another. So I hope they get that figured out because everybody's gonna want Mario. That's gonna be a huge game coming up this holiday. So yeah, thanks a lot. In fact, Mario Odyssey is my game of the show.
Yeah,
like that is the game I'm for sure looking the most. I'm excited about.
Very excited myself for that one.
When that game comes out, I may take a day off work. Or I could just take it to work with me. It is a portable. Just go to the bathroom. Like, Ron's really sick. Go outside. But yeah, that game looks awesome. Well, for you, and I know you didn't watch the press conferences like me, but you did read some stories. Like, is Mario Odyssey?
A few of the games coming out. My game of the show, and I would have to say that the absolute most surprise came out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or Dragon Ball Fighters, however they want to pronounce it. I don't know.
Fighter Z's.
Fighters.
Yeah,
but, that looks amazing.
It does look really cool. I hope it plays as good as it looks.
Yeah. Because
Bandai is making it, so you never know.
Well, and who is it? Arc System Works, or I forget the name, but who do they do? They do Guilty Gear or one of the other.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so there's a pedigree there. That's
yeah.
Those Guilty Gear X games are excellent.
Yeah.
Certainly one of the more distant, like niche fighting genres, but they're excellent.
It looks really good.
So I agree though. So yeah, that looks. And I'm not into the Dragon Ball Z at all.
Yeah.
But I mean that game looks fun.
Yeah.
I mean when you get it. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out. Maybe we could do a play on that.
Yeah.
Whip me up pretty good.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of just an overall overview of E3. It was a really good year. 2017 E3 was awesome. One thing that I wanted to talk about was this was the year that they actually were letting people into the show, like general public, not just media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and I heard that was because we've often talked about going to E3.
Yeah.
And how
because
cool
it seems like
be.
at one time like general public could go, and then it was just media and.
Well, I think it was media only always, but it was easy to fudge your way in. And like I've got my ways. Like I can throw a website together pretty fast and like bullshit my way in. I'm good at that kind of thing. But let's legit, they're selling tickets for it was like $150 or something.
I didn't know that.
And I still really, really want to do that. But I hope they improve on how as far as the setup goes, because if you went, you were waiting in line for hours for just like one experience. Like it wasn't. I think people were happy in general to go, but it wasn't like one of those shows that Sony does. Like they have this thing called PSX that they do, where it's mostly geared to the gamers. They do a whole E3 like presentation, but they speak to the gamers, whereas E3 speaks to the industry. Mm-hmm. So people can kind of like it's built around the fans, so they have it laid out better so that you can get more chances to play the games. I hope they improve upon that, because I know they made a boatload of money. E3 did, and I know why they did it. They wanted to keep E3 relevant because it's an expensive thing to pull off. So it was a success, and I heard rumblings that people were not really getting to play a whole lot of stuff, and so I'm a little worried about that, because for us, we're in Kentucky. Like we got to fly way over on the West Coast to Los Angeles. So if any of you went to E3 by any chance, let us know in the comments like what you thought, because I'll read websites that are media geared. They really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that aspect of it, and I'd like to know. Like things I've read were just like from forum posts, random forum posts. Like, yeah, I went. It was great, and I'd definitely do it again. But I had to wait like in line for like 3 hours to play like a little bit of Mario.
Yeah.
Like a 10-minute demo of Mario, and that's a long time. But if you take a Nintendo Switch with you, you can have fun in line, and I'm sure just talking to the other people.
Swag.
Yeah, you get you some swag. I wonder if they were giving away the swag.
I'm sure somebody's giving away swag. Everybody gives away swag.
Okay. But to the general public, I wonder if they gave away like 1,500 T-shirts.
I don't know.
I don't know. That'd be awesome if they did. Hey, okay, if you're throwing in a T-shirt, it's worth the money. Yeah. It's worth the trip out to Los Angeles. So, anyways, that's our E3 show. Thanks for watching, and I've been Ron Avis,
and I'm Nick Wright,
and thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.